Buckmagick. I'm going live today to talk with you a little bit about my pendulum. Um, I've gone on a few times and worked with the pendulum, answering some questions. Um, but today, depending if people come on, um, I will answer some questions. So I wanted to give you a little bit of background about a pendulum. First of all, a pendulum doesn't have to be a specific pendulum. It could be any weighted item that you have hanging um, off of some sort of string or chain, anything like that. It's basically a small weight that's attached to some sort of thread or chain. Um, it's a really simple instrument that anyone can use. It reveals information, really that at the time perhaps can't be obtained in any other way. It can be used for a lot of purposes, not just answering questions. Um, I also use it to find things. If I've misplaced something, I'll walk around the house. Is it in this area? Is it in this room? And it has helped me that way. It is a dowsing instrument, meaning it detects hidden things. Um, Many people can dowse just with their bodies instead of using an instrument, but that would all depend on the comfort of the person. So just a little bit of background information. The pendulum's been used for thousands of years. Ancient Chinese used them thousands of years ago. Ancient Egyptians used them to determine where they wanted to plant their crops. Um, it goes back to the Roman Empire. Um, you get the idea. So basically, what you do, you want to hold it where you're not able to manipulate it in any way. So basically, you would hold it from the top and let it be still. Usually, a no goes right to left to right. Up and down would be yes. I don't know, or we shouldn't know this information right now. Could go around. I've often had times where it kind of bounces like this to me. And sometimes that means I'm not focused enough or I shouldn't know right now. So when you get started with it, whether it's your first time or you've used it several times, I always suggest that people will ask it a simple question, something that you know, like the day of the week. So so I'm live. It's where I am. It's a Sunday morning. So let me come around this way and I will ask it some questions here. Okay. Is today Sunday? Is today Sunday? I focus on my question. And I'm seeing a little yes. I often will ask to, if it's a small answer, I'll ask it to show me bigger. But you don't always need to do that. Usually it just gets bigger and bigger, as you can see. So today is Sunday. Okay, so I'm going to ask it now if my name is a name that is not correct. My first name. My first earthly name is my first name, Sarah. Is my first name Sarah? And it is giving me a clear indication of no. So No, my name is not Sarah. It's not my middle name. I don't even think I have a relative named Sarah. So there's no Sarahs that I know. Okay. So I am going to go on. Let's see if I can. I'm trying to see if I can find anyone. So I see I have some people watching, and I'm trying to get to see your questions if you have any. So for anyone watching, if you would like to post, oops, sorry. So for anyone watching, if you would, okay, sorry. So if you're watching and you would like to have me ask Pendulum a question, write the question in the comments and we'll see what it says. So what I'm going to do now, we have a storm coming where I am, and I want to know if there's going to be flooding in my area. Is there going to be major flooding in the next 24 hours where I live? Is there going to be major flooding in the area where I live in the next 24 hours? I'm getting a clear indication of no. That would be amazing. Okay. So there you go. Again, if there's anyone who would like to ask a question, let me know. Just looking to see. All right. I have, sorry for the silence. I'm still trying to figure this out. Um, all right. Sorry for the quiet time here. I can't see the area where people are in the chat. Okay. I'm trying to think of another question that I could ask. That's something we could look back at in a couple of days and know if it was correct or not. Hi, Hayden. Do you have a question you want me to have the pendulum ask? Wait a minute. What did I just say? Is there a question you want me to ask the pendulum? When I am not using my pendulum, I often encase it into a small pouch, soft one. This pendulum happens to be labradite. I chose this one because the labradite crystal often, aside from protection, can give you insight into divination. Hayden, do you have a question that you want to ask? So again, a pendulum doesn't have to be something that is a stone that, this one's kind of fancy. I tend to do that. It can be absolutely anything. I've had pendulums where I would take a stone sometimes. This happens to be an opalite, it's man-made, um, and put a string around it. I've even, teaching people how to use a pendulum, I've even seen that they will use like a paper clip. Anything with weight and focus is the main thing that you need, and anyone can do it. You don't have to be like, oh, I don't have that ability, which we all do, but you don't have to you don't have to have any special ability. I think it's a great way to start if you're interested in divination. So let's talk a couple of things about how to use it. You want to sit down in front of a table. The chain of the pendulum usually held with your thumb and your first finger of your dominant hand. Um, if you're ambidextrous, which is I am, um, go by the first side that you used. So I use my right hand. Um, you rest your elbow on the table because you don't want your arm to get shaky or anything like that. You make sure that no other part of your body is in contact with the table. So let me say that again. You're in front of a table, you're sitting in front of a table of sorts, and you make sure that your leg, your knee isn't touching that table, only your elbow that's holding the pendulum. Have your legs uncrossed and your feet flat on the floor. The palm of your hand that holds the pendulum should be face down, and the pendulum should hang, oh, I don't know, I would say 7 to 12 inches in front of you. So you're not in this full um, expansion of your arm. So if you want to grab a little something, or if you have a pendulum that you're ready to give it a try with, go ahead and do that. If you're experimenting while you're standing, make sure that your elbow creates like a, I don't know what you call that, like an angle with your forearm. So in other words, your forearm is parallel to the floor or to the ground. And then you can swing the pendulum slowly in circles, clockwise, and counterclockwise. And of course, I'm making this go counterclockwise at this time. And then after that, swing it from side to side, side to side, and then toward you and away from you, which would be the yes and no. It helps you to become familiar with the movements that this pendulum can make, and you can experiment by holding the thread at different lengths to see what feels best for you. So, I like to be up at the top with, the length of mine, which is about 7 inches. And I like to have something at the top that I hold. I don't like to hold the chain itself. I feel like I can accidentally manipulate the direction if I'm holding on to it. But you might want to go a little bit shorter or longer. It all depends on you. Then once you become used to these different movements with the pendulum, use your free hand to stop the weight from moving. And when it's still, ask it which movement indicates yes as positive or no as the negative response. Now, like I said, usually this is yes, usually this is no. I don't know, or you shouldn't know right now is a round circle. When I first started with it, I did ask the pendulum what it wanted yes to be and what it wanted no to be, and it came out exactly like that. So, you know, will 100% of the people have that? No. So that's why it's really good to ask that. But my guess is your yes, your no will probably coincide with the up down for positive and the left right for negative. And negative not necessarily meaning bad, negative meaning no. Um, um, the more you use a pendulum, the better you are. Um, I read pendulum usage by several people, but I do recall reading many times that being hydrated is always a good thing to do. So, hi, Nathan. Hi, Dallas. So let's say you're going to get yourself your first pendulum. Now, those of us that work with crystals, we all know that they feel a certain way, and allowing ourselves to feel the differences of them is very important. So, what pendulum might be good for one person might not be good for you. And the way I connect with pendulums, and I have several. There are 7 that I probably use, and to be honest with you, I have many of them in different areas of my home. Um, and if a question comes to me, I don't quite know what I want to do, what direction to go in, what I should do here. I'll reach for that pendulum that's right there, ask it a simple question that I know the answer to, and then I will ask for the guidance. Um, but anyway, when you're going to purchase a pendulum, and very often, some of these lovely shops that sell them will have many all displayed, and they're pretty and very invite. I can't just walk by pendulums that are on display, but take a look at the pendulums. Which one really, like speaks to you? Which one do you like? Like, which one is intriguing to you? Which one do you want to reach out to and take off of the little holder and give a try to? So go with that one, and then give it a try. Hold it up. See what it does. Now, when I hold pendulums, they tend to go around in a circle very quickly, like this one just did. And the circle gets bigger and bigger. And as you become more in tuned with the usage of this instrument, as you can see, do you see? Your energy will attract it to move in certain ways. Um, and I'm not doing anything. So, and then you stop it. Give it a try. If one of them just kind of sits and you're not really feeling a connection with it, that might not be the pendulum for you. So when you get one that is speaking with you, so to speak, ask it that question that you know the answer to. You know, the name, if you have a sibling, what, is their first name such and such? Something simple that the day of the week, where I am right now, what is the weather doing? Is it raining? Is it snowing? That kind of thing. And then that can help you to pick your pendulum, the one that you really like. When you get it, now, especially if it's crystal, you could see the bottom is very, very delicate. And actually this one too, if you take a close look, I have chipped it. And many of my pendulums are chipped at the bottom, probably just from overusage. But you want a little bag. I'm just looking for mine right now, but something soft that you can keep it in, protect it with. you may have seen when I'm doing readings, I have the pouch on here, and then underneath I have charged and cleansed stones, and that helps to keep it ready to go for me when I want it. But that's a great way for you to buy a pendulum. And the last thing I want to say about making purchases and what have you is the cost of things. People have said to me, oh, your crystals, your pendulums, your various decks of tarot and oracle cards, everything's so expensive. And, it's true, things can be very expensive, but magic doesn't require all of this. The most important ingredient to being able to be involved with magic is you. You can use anything to help you to focus, to help you do divination. You don't need all of these things. These are all tools to help you. So at first, it doesn't cost. This, for instance, this shell. I got this off of a beach. So, and over time, these weren't all purchased at one time. I they come slowly, and you come across them. I always think when you need something, it will find you. Also, I make a lot of my own items. So this is a witch's bottle that I use for um, making wishes and prayer. Uh, this one is one of my Yule bottles. This one is from a couple of years ago. But there's money and money bottles. You can make love bottles, health, and it. All of the items inside here, I would say 99% of them, I just go for a walk in the woods and find them. There's holly in there, and there's pine. That's a cinnamon stick. There's a pine cone right there. And it all has to do with your belief. It's great to have these tools, and it's fun to work with them, but you don't need them when you're first starting. So just keep that in mind. You don't even need them if you've been doing it for a long time. Often I won't have any of my tools or my little treasures with me. The earth is very powerful, and we're in a complete connection with it. And I try to walk every day in nature. I try to work really hard at living in a space that brings me close to nature. And even if I'm in a city situation, there's a tree. There may be a tree just lining that sidewalk, and that brings you to nature, and it grounds you, and it can help you throughout the day. Listening to yourself, you're so powerful. You yourself are so magical that you can give yourself insight to what you should do. And the pendulum is just is just one of those items that helps, and it's very simple. So I always have a pendulum in my purse, a smaller one, of course. I also carry a little pocket-sized tarot deck. So sometimes if I have a question, how is this going to turn out? What should I do about this? I'll even take the tarot deck and, let's see, I have this one right here. I'll take a tarot deck and, how is this particular meeting going to go, or something to that effect. And I have a question, I'm not quite sure what I should do. I'll give it a couple of shuffles. I'll focus on my question. I'll clear the deck. I'll cut it. It takes a few seconds. and I'll see what it tells me. Now, so I just pulled the Ten of Wands. Well, that's telling me it's going to be hard work, uh, if that were a real situation. But there are just so many things at your disposal that you could use all the time. And, when you're walking, look on the ground. The earth gives us many things. I don't know that I have one right here, but I don't know if you've ever seen a wishing rock. And a wishing rock is a stone that has at least one white line going all the way around it. It doesn't break apart in any place. And sometimes there can be several white lines. Let's see if I have one here. I don't think I do. And they're everywhere. I'm in the Northeast, and I see them everywhere. And if you follow that white line and make a wish on the white line all the way around the stone, they say your wishes can come true. And it further says if you make that wish for someone else, then all your wishes can come true. So that's a fun little thing. And in the autumn, if a leaf starts falling down off of a tree and you catch it, make a wish on it and let it go. In the first acorn you see of the season, make a wish on that and then bury it into the ground, thank it for its wish. And in return for the thanking of the wish, you plant it so that it can become a mighty oak. So there's just a couple of things, a little bit about pendulum. So let me know if you have any questions about that. Little bit of information for very quick reads for tarot. You don't need to be doing the more complicated Celtic crosses or card spreads with cards that are, giving you more information on the original cards. Single card spread often will work. And look around where you are. Nature, you could be smack in the middle of the city, and there is nature. There's wind, there are trees, and just be mindful of all of that. And answers do come your way. So forms of divination, yes, they're fantastic, but you yourself, you're the strongest power in that. So just something to keep in mind as you move along. And with that said, if there's no questions, I am going to end this live session. Does anyone have any questions for me?